It's Tuesday. So yeah, August 18th. We're going to continue to work with the ARC Animal Tarot and Oracle card deck. I've got some other decks here. Um, Benadette King and Heidi Sutherlin are the people who created this. Lovely, lovely deck. Okay. I love our reading from yesterday. And I was thinking about that rhinoceros and the King of Pentacles, right? Sometimes we need to have a broader vision, and sometimes we need to be a little more myopic in order to get stuff done. And to really discern what's worth investing in, what's worth acting upon, you know. But sometimes it can feel ruthless, right? Especially if you're not really used to doing that. And sometimes it is just truly ruthless. So we have to decide, and learning and feeling our way through that, especially if that's new for you. Those are new skills that you're learning. Sometimes we have to, in order to stay in our worth, to cultivate, that is a stay in your lane energy, especially coming up with the Chariot. But there are some things in the material plane that there are many things in the material plane that trigger our emotions. And what's really, that point of discernment comes in when we can, sift through the noise, like sift through what's triggering our emotions and see if our emotions are trying to drive the whole thing without the combination of head, like logic, a little remove, using the head space. So not just using the head space, not just using the emotional intelligence, it's combining them both. That's what helps us have good boundaries. Or learn. So what are the blessed messages for today, Tuesday, August 18th? Camel, Page of Pentacles. So yeah, speaking of learning, it's a journey. It's a journey. We're learning new things all the time, and being willing to be in that beginner's mind, admitting that we're just students of life. We're not masters. If you were a master, you wouldn't be here. Teaching one another, coming up. Teaching one another, being willing to be patient and in our own learning process. But part of the learning process is, we learn best when we're teaching. We learn so much when we're in that teaching role. But, you got to be open to that. And again, not myopic. Let's not be rigid, thinking that we know everything. It's the minute we start to teach, it's the minute we start to learn. How that works. Gosh, learning that my hair is really a lot. Anyway, quest for wisdom, abundant harvest, conserving energy. With the camel. Right, we can only take in so much, so we need to realize that we are on a journey. So as we're working through the day, as we're learning new things, kind of tempering, being discerning, tempering what we're going to dive into and what we're not. Remembering these are only messages about pages, messages. Communication. Sometimes taking in the messages and just, taking notes and paying attention is enough. Bear, Queen of Pentacles. We have 2 Pentacles. I love her. We had the King yesterday, remember? So now we have the Queen. So nurturing ourselves today. So they're really making sure that Beaver, 7 of Cups comes up again. So this one was one of the cards that came up at the bottom of the deck yesterday. Yeah, dreams, deception, but determination, right, to continue on. So we have 2 very determined creatures. Yeah. The conserving energy, again, being, don't get deceived. There are lots of choices out there. Yeah, there are lots of choices out there about where to put your energy. We had the 8 of Wands yesterday. I knew it was an extremely busy day for me. So, I had a lot of energy to meet that. You may not have that energy today. And so be aware of that. It may be a day to just take in the messages, to rest, hibernate a little bit. Take care of yourself. Be willing to understand that not every day is a day that we're going to show up with the kind of energy that maybe was on deck yesterday, and despite what's going on around you. So again, I'm coming up with despite what's going on around you, that there's lots of choices. There might be a lot of emotional pulls on where it is that you should be applying your energy or learning, or what you should be doing. But you at the bottom of at the end of the day, it's actually be protective of your energy, be protective of your soul, be gracious about what you're going to take on and what you're not going to take on, where you're going to invest and where you're not going to invest. Yeah, Dolphin, the Knight of Cups, joy, true romance, playful, trickster. So again, coming in, there might be a lot of, emotional excitement and passion, and lots of choices. But we have the 4 of Pentacles, so just kind of hold on. I saw the 2 of Wands kind of take, and then we have the 2 of Wands. So taking the first step. Again, these are just beginning type of things. So being very discerning, being playful about it, taking it like, let's not rush in with our heart on our sleeve, or spill, if we're feeling very emotional about something, be wise, combine get a little grounded, bring in that Queen of Pentacles energy to temper. Because when we get really, and we really get excited about something, or passionate about something, or emotional about something, if we're in our feels a little bit, sometimes the tendency is to, be too playful and not read the room. And know that, maybe some of this is an inside job. So, come back to, combine with the people, or the, who are really like a little more collaborative with you on that, and work, kind of bring things in a little bit. The 2 of Wands could also be just, combining with divine spirit, not just, but that should be the first place you go, combining with divine spirit, coming back to your center, combining with yourself, that divine inner higher wisdom, in order to get a better idea about where it is you should go, what it is and just be willing to come back to that place of being willing to take in the information. Cups is about taking in, not just about spilling everything out. So sometimes coming in and being, here's my cup. I want to, kind of feel through the whole, all of what's on deck here, being excited to feel all of what's available, also feeling capable of meeting what is available to feel. And then again, start to make a decision about how you maybe want to step forward with whatever it is that you're doing. Remember, we, then make a decision from the various 7 cups that are on offer about what you want to do. So I think that's about it. Lots of interesting energy today. Interesting balancing act of what to do and where to hang back a little bit. But enjoy, play with it. At the end of the day, play with it. Dolphins love to play. Have a great one.